Today on DNVR Buffs Live, 2 Colorado Buffaloes have been selected to the preseason Big 12 All-Media team, or All Big 12 team by the media. But who is being slept on by the media? We get into that. And also, we preview Big 12 Media Days. A lot of media going on in here. Let's do it. Let's go.
Squad. Coming to you live from the Toyota Lounge, driven by your Front Range Toyota stores. It's DNVR Buffs Live. What's up? How'd you enjoy the holiday weekend?
It was great, man. Great all around. Zero complaints. Had some good drinks, saw some good people.
Oh, yeah.
Did some good things, played some good golf.
Congrats.
Very important.
That's all you can ask for.
Sounds like a hell of a weekend, man. Same, some well-deserved time off, a long weekend. Got to chill quite a bit. Was in Coors Field on Saturday night to watch the White Sox get a dub. You know what I'm saying? It was a beautiful night in Coors Field.
A rare sight.
A very, very rare sight. So that was cool. And we got a big week ahead of us here. Heading down to the Frisco, Texas here in a few hours for Big 12 Media Days this week.
Yes, sir.
The GOAT dropped this past weekend as well. I'm pretty turned up, I'm not going to lie.
The what drop?
GOAT.
What does that mean?
I know
The
Max
goat of
Verstappen
music.
did drop it out of Stowe Corner. And
The GOAT of
sad.
music
Yes.
dropped new music this week.
Correct. Chad knows.
Who is it?
King Mars knows. If he's here today, I'm sure he is. Logan probably knows.
Logan, who dropped this weekend? What artist? Oh,
Yes, sir.
Drake. All right, the GOAT. We're going that far, huh?
Yes, sirski.
Unbelievable. I'm not even a Drake hater. It's just that's just crazy.
that is crazy.
Sounds like you are.
Taylor Swift didn't drop any new music.
Oh,
Bro.
wow.
Mo know what's up. Yeah, Mo know what's up. You talking about Taylor Swift. That's insane.
That's even more wild than what Scott said.
Thank you, bro. Thank you.
I had to one up him. I had the wildest take here.
Oh, man.
I drove through Wyoming. Would not recommend.
No. Glad your car didn't blow over.
Yeah. It actually wasn't that windy,
Oh.
but it was actually really nice, but it was very empty.
Were you going to get fireworks?
No.
Bro, okay, really quick. I don't think I've ever spent 4th of July in the city since I started living in the city.
Okay.
And I had no idea how much people launch fireworks.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Like you
They
know,
don't play.
growing up in Boulder, it like wasn't that like big of a deal. Like maybe people had some like black cats or something. Like maybe like one house on the block like launched a real firework.
There's like more threat of a fire out there though. Than
True.
In the city.
No, 100%.
Yeah.
Dude, in the city, it was from the second that the sun peaked behind the mountains till 3:30 a.m. constant. And I'm talking about just on my block alone.
Big booms, too. Not them little, little things you throw at the
I
ground.
was
Big booms.
shook. I could not believe. Like I sat on my balcony just watching. The entire city was a fireworks show.
Yeah, I had people on like one of the balcony terrace things last night at 12:15 lighting off a bunch of them. It was
Yeah, dude,
great.
the last one that like I remember waking up from one at 3:30 a.m.
That's
And I think that was the last one. And then by 6:30 a.m. I heard another one. I'm like, the sun's out. What are you even doing?
Insane.
You know who really hates the 4th of July and fireworks more than anybody?
Dogs.
Dogs. That's got to be like their worst nightmare.
I also
every
never
year.
realized how much of an uphill battle the people who are tweeting like, think of the dogs before you launch fireworks. I'm like, everyone's
It's worth
Hundreds of thousands of
Yeah.
people are launching off these fireworks, so you're never gonna win this one.
No, all the pyros have been waiting months for the July 4th, celebration of just blowing shit up at night.
Yeah, we love that.
Yeah, Cam. Yeah, Southside D. They know
Okay,
what's
we got a
up.
lot to talk about today. A lot. Travis Kelce spoke about Travis Hunter in the NFL. Tyreek Davis has a number. Coach Prime shared an update. Pretty much, yeah. That's what they were, Don Juan. Yes. Coach Prime update. What the hell is going on with Texas Tech? KingJoseph Edwards somehow entered the portal too. We'll get into that. Recruiting, but we start with previewing Media Day. DJ McKinney and Jordan Seaton are the only two Buffs named to the preseason All Big 12 team. Do you have it all pulled up right now, Scotty? I can pull it up as well. Obvious. I think we have only two last year, right? Shador and Travis.
I think that's right, bro.
So
No LeJontay?
Don't think
don't
LeJontay
think
was
so.
preseason last year, no.
Okay.
I mean, Jordan Tyson, Sam Levitt, David Bailey at Texas Tech, Dante Corleone, a lot of familiar names.
Sam Levitt voted the Offensive Player of the Year preseason.
Man, they love him.
Yeah.
They love him.
Defensive player of the
Golden
year
boy of the Big 12 media.
is Jacob Rodriguez, linebacker at Texas Tech. Newcomer of the year, Devin Dampier, quarterback, Utah.
Sounds familiar. That boy's going to be a dog, man.
What do we want to dig in on this conference team or talk snubs first?
Is there any, I guess, before we do snubs, are there any egregious inclusions, in your opinion? I feel like probably not.
I will have to say mine is pretty similar to what the Big 12 got. And I think we'll unveil mine a little bit later. Dion made some dope graphics for that. It's pretty similar. I don't see any where I'm like, what is that? I think for the most part, they got it
No
right.
Isaac Wilson or anything.
Right.
No, there's a lot of Iowa State, Texas Tech, ASU on this list, though.
I honestly think my biggest issue would probably be the vote for Offensive Player of the Year being Sam Levitt, but I understand that everybody probably nationally is going to feel that way. So
Yeah.
I understand that part of it.
But yeah, that's pretty much the team. Of course.
Who do you think had the next most likely chance of the Buffs to make it?
Zai should have been, or Hill.
Two offensive linemen. God, I hope that's right. I think I would have said Draylon. But it would have been a lot of projection, and I don't think there's a lot of projection done in these
Yes,
things.
exactly.
There's not.
It's a lot of like who's coming back that was good last year. And again, it's one of those things where like Scotty, you had a vote. I didn't expect you to like go watch film on Texas Tech's freshman wide receivers from last year and be like, which one of these guys is bound to pop off?
Right.
So I can't really blame the media for doing it that way. But on that same note, I don't think you're going to get a newcomer or unless they're a really high profile newcomer or a in-conference newcomer.
Right.
For the media, like the media has no idea who the Chrysler is.
Right.
And so that's why I'm like, man, like at least Draylon like showed some things in Big 12 games last year that maybe they could have gone off, but again, they're not going to project. So it would have had to be a returning guy, and there's not much in terms of like Preston Hodge.
Sure.
Actually Preston Hodge would probably be my choice.
Arden.
Yeah. But again, Arden wasn't like big production wise last year.
Yeah. I don't know, maybe Jaheim Otis, like for maybe not newcomer, but I mean the amount of national praise that he gets compared to the rest of the team is pretty glaring.
Yeah, he would have been one of the ones that's like, okay, that's a super high profile newcomer that could get projected to be in. But I'm gonna put Preston Hodge as my number one snub.
Logan, can you throw mine my ballot? Can we do defense first?
I have a feeling where you're going here.
So this was my vote, my ballot for the preseason all conference team defense. You got the punter up there because you got to vote for that as well. But you can see on the left, I have Preston Hodge, DJ McKinney as well, and I also voted for Arden Walker. The rest of my list is there. I got the same 3 linebackers that the rest of the media voted. That's Jacob Rodriguez from Texas Tech. He led the conference, led the Big 12 in total tackles last season. He was also voted by the media the preseason Big 12 Defensive Player of the Year. Who's the other linebackers? Austin Romaine from Kansas State. Dog. He was Pro Football Focus's highest graded linebacker in Power 4 last year as a true sophomore. 96 tackles for K-State last year. And then Keaton Thomas from Baylor had 100-plus tackles, first team all-conference last year in the Big 12. And then defensive line, like I mentioned, Arden, David Bailey from Texas Tech, who transferred in from Stanford, Lee Hunter, also at Texas Tech, who transferred in from UCF. Texas Tech's defense is going to be really good this year on paper. Should be. CJ Fife from Arizona State, big, massive interior defensive lineman. And, of course, I got the godfather on there, Dante Corleone from Cincinnati. And then you can see the back end. I mentioned the 2 DBs from Colorado, Preston and DJ, a couple DBs from Iowa State, and then Xavier Alford, a safety from Arizona State, who is also a dog. So, that's who I would have went with. I would have said, Preston, like you guys said, Preston and Arden would kind of been my next guys who I think are the most snubbed among the Buffs. But a lot of defensive talent in this conference.
Totally. Go to the offensive side?
Yeah, let's do offense real quick. Talk about this a little bit last week. I got Josh Hoover. Obviously, Sam Leavitt was the media's pick. I really went back and forth between Josh Hoover and Sawyer Robertson at Baylor quite a bit. I just think with Hoover, nobody threw the ball more in the Big 12 last year than Hoover, aside from Shedeur Sanders. He's going to get so many, probably going to be close to 500 attempts this year for Josh Hoover, and that's going to probably result in 4,000 around their passing yards, probably close to 30 passing touchdowns. I just think he's going to be the most productive quarterback numbers-wise in the Big 12 this year. Both of their running backs, one from Baylor, ran for over 1,000 yards last year. Probably the biggest reason I went against Sawyer Robertson, I think they're going to be a bit more balanced offensively than I think people expect. And then Jaheim White, I know RKU like him a lot from West Virginia. Ran for over 700 yards last year. I think 7 touchdowns. He's going to be, I think, one of the best running backs in the conference this year. I have no idea why we still have to vote for a fullback, but there he is, Will Swanson.
What the hell?
He also was the vote by the media, so I feel I guess
the only fullback
vindicated in that. Right, it might be the only one.
Colorado doesn't roster a fullback.
Exactly, and he's listed. Swanson is as a tight end, and I think that's how most kind of rosters are looked at. So you kind of got to look at who's listed as a tight end, but really being used as a fullback. That was my pick there.
Drop that and add a receiver. What are we doing?
I completely agree. It should be 4 receivers, no doubt. Speaking of receivers, Jordan Tyson, obvious. Over 1,000 yards last year. I think 10-plus touchdowns last year. Had off-season surgery, but he should be back ready to go for the start of the season. Eric McAllister might be a name that people don't know too well. Kind of tying into my Josh Hoover pick there, but TCU had 2 receivers drafted pretty high last year, Jack Besh and Savion Washington. Eric McAllister still had over 700 yards for TCU last year. I think about 7 touchdowns as well. They also had a 4th receiver who's now on my Bears, who's an undrafted free agent, J.P. Richardson. Contributed quite a bit for TCU last year. And like I said, McAllister was still very productive. And I think him and Hoover could be one of the best quarterback wide receiver duos in the conference, maybe in the country as well. I got O on there. That's probably my biggest projection pick.
Love this.
I would have picked him over Draylon personally.
Yeah, right. And obviously it's a big projection pick. He only had, the 270 yards or so, 10 catches or so, a touchdown last year. But we all know that was, largely due to the 4 NFL receivers on the team and his season being cut short to injury. So I think by the end of the year, Omarion's going to be looked at conference-wide, nationwide, as one of the best, most talented receivers in the country.
You and I were really on the same page with this because I said Preston, I thought was my biggest snub. You had him on.
Yeah.
And then I was ready to say the biggest one that I would have called my shot on would have been Omarion Miller. And it brings up a good question from actually Carlton Miller in the comments who says, respectfully, O is projecting. I hope you're right, but he should not be on this list today, July 7th.
I hear you.
So, but that brings up a good question. Is this a projection of what you think the post-season list will be? Is that the way that you view it? Because that's the way that I view it.
Yes, it is. This is who I think are the best players at these positions in the conference, and I think that's what it'll kind of reflect in the stat book at the end of the season.
Yes, so it's not based on who are the best players today. It's based on who will be the best players at the end of the season.
Correct.
Not a lot of
I
people
think
do it
that's
that way, though.
I know, and I don't understand why.
And I think
I feel the exact same way about the preseason top 25.
Right.
You should be saying like, I'm trying to get this right for
Exactly.
week 12. Who's going to be the best 25 teams?
because the way they do it is what you mentioned earlier. A lot of people just like who was the most productive, who played the most, who had the most stats. That's what we're gonna vote. And obviously that has to be considered quite a bit when you're making these preseason lists. But some rejection I think has to be involved as well, and it was obviously involved during Marion's pick, and we'll see how it shakes out. I think we'll get to the rest of that offensive ballot and some honorable mentions here on the other side of this break.
Shout out to our friends over at First Bank. Whether on the road, at home, or somewhere in between, First Bank makes banking easy, convenient, and secure. Their mobile banking app allows you to check balances, pay friends, and manage your money anytime, anywhere. And here's the best part. Open a First Bank checking account today, and you could earn $300. First Bank is all about helping you stay on track. Their tools make it simple to stay in control of your finances without the hassle, no matter where life takes you. First Bank gives you the freedom to bank how and when it works best for you. So if you're ready for better banking and the chance to earn a little extra, head to efirstbank.com/bonus. That's efirstbank.com/bonus to open your account. Bank how you want, when you want with First Bank. Certain restrictions and requirements apply. Member FDIC.
I was bouncing all over the state this weekend. I was in Greeley. I was in Boulder-ish area here in Denver, getting around. And all the entire time, I was confident in my Toyota. It was hot out, whatever. A lot of excuses for people with lesser vehicles, but not me. My Toyota's still in great condition. Just got her an oil change. She's, repaying me, taking care of her. She's taking care of me even better now. Air conditioning, blowing cold. It's just something special about driving around in your Toyota on a holiday weekend. So shout out to our friends over at Toyota. And shout out to you for going and letting them know DNVR sent you when you visit a Front Range Toyota store at a location near you, including AutoNation, Arapahoe Toyota, Centennial, Corwin Toyota in Boulder, Groove Toyota in Littleton, Mountain States Toyota in Denver, Stevenson Toyota East in Aurora, and Stevenson Toyota West in Lakewood. Toyota is an official partner of Colorado Athletics and the official vehicle of DNVR.
You were at the Greeley Stampede this weekend, right?
I was.
How was that?
It was great. It was great.
I think you mentioned last week on the show when you were gonna go that you were like, "Yeah, I'm gonna be rocking the cutoff vibes, like cowboy boots type."
Yep.
I think I saw like you were alley post, like you're fit for the weekend, and that was a cutoff, bro. That was a cutoff.
Oh yeah,
like cutoff right here, like no sleeves. I'm like, yeah, that boy was in his country bag this weekend.
I told Allie, I said, "There's no better time to have a farmer's tan than around a bunch of farmers."
That is fact.
They feel it, they feel
facts.
no one judges you. They're like, "Oh, he must be working hard out in the field." I'm like, "Well, I'm just playing golf," but it's kind of like working hard in the field. So yeah, I got into character.
That's dope.
That's what I like to do at those.
It's only right.
You kind of just unlock a new version of yourself.
Logan, if we can pull that offensive ballot up one more
Hold
time.
on, Jasmine. No, I did not get a ballot. Scotty stole it from me.
Stole is crazy.
I don't even want a ballot.
I'd like to have fun too, I'd like to maybe fill out a ballot every now and then, but
that'd be.
The Big 12 doesn't like fun.
I figured that
We've
out.
learned that.
I don't know if they like me either.
Offensive line here. Spencer Fano is, I think, looked at nationally as one of the best tackles in college football.
They have one of the best tackle duos in the country.
For sure. I did not include the other one, Caleb Lomu is his name.
Yeah.
Caleb Lomu, but you might see his name here in a little bit. Bryce Foster from Kansas flirted with the NFL draft this offseason, but he's back playing center for the Jayhawks. Omar, I'm not sure how to pronounce his last name, but an interior offensive lineman from Baylor. Back, I think he was second team all conference last year. Joe Cotton from Cincinnati transferred in from South Dakota.
Yep.
All American at FCS, 6'7", 300 and plus pounds. And then obviously Seat, who is, the highest graded true freshman offensive tackle in pass protection last year. Played the most snaps on the Colorado football team from an offensive standpoint. One of the best young players in college football. BYU's punter/kicker, not punter, his kicker is in there. And then Josh Cameron from Baylor, who I really like. An intriguing, explosive athlete. Looks like a running back in a receiver's body, who can also return kicks. And then my pick for tight end there is a transfer. Tanner, I'm not sure how to pronounce his last name. Y'all can
Houston, let's go.
Where?
Yeah.
Scott's a believer.
He transferred in from Ball State. He had 90 catches, bro, last year at Ball State. Damn near 1,000 yards, 839 yards,
How
8
do you spell
touchdowns.
the last name? This graphic's kind of hard to.
Koziel? Koziel?
Kozzziol. Is that what it is?
Z-I-O-L.
Z-I-O-L.
Isn't that what I said?
You said ZZ.
There's only one Z.
Yes.
Koziel. Yeah.
Koziel, yeah, sure. He, like I said, was at Ball State last year, balled out, transferred to Wisconsin this offseason in the winter, and then transferred to Houston in the spring. I think him and Connor Wegman are going to be a nice little duo down there in Houston, and it's going to be a tough matchup for when Colorado plays them. I'm interested to see who they kind of decide is going to be the man to guard him, because he's an interesting matchup. 6'7", can obviously run routes and catch the football very easily, so that's going to be an interesting matchup. And then honorable mentions here, last slide. Got 18 guys here, 9 on offense, 9 on defense. Couple buffs.
It's not that honorable if there's 8.
I know.
9 on offense, 9 on defense. I feel like that was valid. Got Draylon Miller in there, coming off I thought a pretty solid true freshman season. Got Xavier Hill on there. Started 26 straight games for Memphis over the last couple of years. Going to be starting at left guard for Colorado. Got Zy Crisler on there, transferring from Illinois. 30 starts at Illinois. Going to be playing right guard for Colorado. Amari McNeil as well. Y'all know how I feel about Amari. I think he's in for a massive senior year. Was the Big 12 Defensive Player of the Week last year for his performance against Texas Tech, where he really balled out. And yeah, you can see some other guys. Joy Royer was the meatiest pick for tight end. He was the most productive tight end in the conference last year. Yeah, 50 catches, almost 600 yards. There's Caleb Lomu, the other tackle from Utah. Jace Brown, who I really like, the K-State receiver. LJ Martin, the BYU running back, who the Buffs will see. And yeah, you see the rest of the name. Tawfiq Byard as well. My fifth kind of buff for the honorable mention. I think he's in for a big, big season. Could potentially lead this team in tackles this year. That wouldn't surprise me. But yeah, there are the honorable mentions.
Love it. Great job, man. Way to rep DNVR with a strong ballot.
All complaints about the DNVR ballot go to Scott. At
Gotcha.
Scott Proctor _on X.
Yes, sir. Shout out Dion for the graphics, too.
Shout out to the boy.
Squad.
All right, little predictions / superlatives.
Let's do it.
Which buff do you think is going to be the one most impressive buff?
First of all, let's start by who all is going.
I was going to get there.
Okay.
Julian Lewis, Caden Salter, Jordan Seaton. What?
Nothing. Julian Lewis, Kate Salter.
DJ McKinney, and Alejandro Mata.
Okay.
You teed up the question like you weren't about to.
Yeah. Give
the
exactly
names,
it. That's
but
exactly
all right, it's all right.
Who's your pick?
What's the first one?
Who will be most impressive?
Yes.
Jordan Seed.
I think DJ. I think people are going to be wanting to hear what DJ has to say because of his NFL draft status for 2026. And I think he has become real comfortable in front of the media over the last year, especially this spring. We talked to him here recently. Seems very comfortable as well. So I think DJ.
It's going to be Juju. They're going to talk to this 17-year-old,
I was going to say, if you're grading on a curve for the fact that he should be, barely out of high school right now.
Right.
He's going to get a lot of crazy questions.
Not even. He should be getting ready for his senior year of high school.
Correct.
But he has the potential to get a lot of crazy questions, man. He had a pretty high profile recruitment and stuff.
Oh yeah.
People may not know who he is, but as a Colorado player at this point, but they've heard his name. You know what I mean? They might have seen his face on Sports Illustrated or whatever at this point.
Juju. Go ahead.
Someone told me they were in a Dick's Sporting Goods recently. There's a giant mural of Juju on the wall.
Exactly. Yeah.
Juju got to be the youngest player to ever attend Big 12 Media Days, don't he?
For sure.
Probably.
Got to be. Has to be probably the first true freshman. I don't know if there's any true freshman that has ever been in these Power 4 Media Days for
I
football.
could maybe imagine a 5-star true freshman quarterback who was just expected to start.
Yeah, maybe.
Could be there, but I bet
crazy.
you they weren't supposed to be a senior in high school.
Yeah, right. You add an extra layer too.
Story of the event. Last year it was Ollie Gordon, right?
It was that and Shador saying Colorado's everybody's super.
And that too. And so I mean, what do you think it would be? Because there's so many. There's Texas Tech right now, which we will talk about.
Yeah.
There is obviously Coach Prime and, just Colorado. With Coach Prime with his health, everyone's going to probably ask about that, I'm sure. Jake Retzloff, BYU, like they're looking for a quarterback, and they're at media days here.
Mm-hmm. That's
ASU
what I'm going with.
being like most hyped team in the country, pretty much. Like there's actually quite a bit this year.
I'm going with BYU. I think that's going to dominate the media days this week in terms of what Kalani Sitake says on record. I think for the first time since all this has come out in terms of the decision to move on from Retzloff, there's still some uncertainty about whether he hasn't even really entered the portal yet. So there's some uncertainty about whether he
there was
might
a report.
come back or, with this new transfer portal might happen. So people are going to be asking him about Retzloff, what happened there, what's next, who's going to be their quarterback here in 2025. And he's also the first coach to speak this week on Tuesday. So he is going to be, thrown into the fire immediately. And I think that's going to, like I said, dominate headlines, at least for the first day.
I feel like he's going to say nothing.
I'm going to go Texas Tech. I think Joey McGuire is going to get a lot of questions about what's going on with NIL and everything just surrounding. They've got another prediction for like another four-star receiver today in 27. If that number, the 55 million or whatever, is real for their entire athletic department, we know what, 95% of that's to football.
Right.
There's going to be a lot of questions about that, I think.
I'm going to make a vague prediction that I'm incredibly confident will be correct.
Okay.
The story will surround Colorado. One way or another.
Yes.
The main story will be about Colorado. I don't know exactly what it is yet, but it'll arise.
I mean, it could very easily just be Coach Prime,
Yeah.
Him being in front of cameras, for the first time in some months could very much just be that.
When he kind of mentioned, like, the next time I talk to the media or whatever, all will be told or something along those lines.
Exactly.
So, he obviously has a story to share.
Yep.
And everyone that's there will be waiting patiently to find out what it is.
Maybe along the same lines, just from what Scotty said, but most anticipated non-CU interview. You could go, Kenny Dillingham. You could go Sam Levitt if you want to. You could go, obviously, Kalani Sitake with everything going on over there. Joey McGuire. Scott Frost is back. Like Rich Rod, you know what I mean? Like,
I want to hear from Willie Fritz. No, stop.
who are you most anticipating to hear from?
I'm going to go with the person who had the best and also dumbest quote last year. That's Mike Gundy.
Yeah, I forgot about it.
Wait, what did he say last year?
He's like, I forget. They like said what Ollie Gordon blew or whatever, and he's like, "Yeah, I've done that a couple hundred times."
Right.
Then he like backtracks the next day. He's like, "I just meant like I've had a drink at dinner and driven." Blah blah. That's hilarious.
You want to go ahead, Scotty? Is it just Avery Johnson for you?
Good one, brother. I'm kind of, not to steal RK's answer, but I think Mike Gundy is just the most, like, aside from Coach Prime, just the most entertaining coach figure potentially in the whole conference. So he's going to say something that's going to make people just a belly laugh. So
obviously we weren't allowed to pick Colorado.
Right.
I'll pick Kenny Dillingham just because he can be a little fiery too, and it's going to be different this year. Obviously, they're on the mountaintop, so I want to see if his tone maybe changes a little bit.
This is going to be interesting for ASU. It is very rare that program has expectations.
Yeah.
And they've got a lot on them this year. They're kind of almost being expected to carry the conference.
Yep.
And I don't think that they're strong enough to have that weight on their shoulders.
Honorable mention person I want to hear from, Daddy Yorbucks.
Yeah.
Big 12 Commissioner Brett Yormark. He's always dropping gems.
We got to do a bet. Like if we can get him on the show, someone loses the bet, they got to call him Daddy Yorbucks to his face.
And they have to do it like conversationally.
Yeah, like so. Anyways, Daddy Yorbucks.
Right, exactly.
Oh my god.
So Daddy Yorbucks, I was wondering, what's your philosophy really?
He's going to get us banned from media day.
Sounds like a good old what are the odds situation. I feel like we haven't done a good what are the odds in a while.
That's true.
Maybe along the same lines, but best quote. I mean, you kind of mentioned Mike Gundy last year with that one. Shador had honestly probably the quote though that everyone talked about the most, which is that "We're everyone's Super Bowl." You could throw in a Buff if you want to on this list. Could be Coach Prime if you want to just go with that. But
The quote that lives in my head from last year the most is the way that Shiloh, when he was on our show, was talking about how to pronounce Shador.
Yeah.
And just the way that he said it, he's like, it's not Shador.
Shador.
Who will have the quote? I'm going to say that on our show, the quote of the week will come from Alejandro Mata.
I can see that, brother.
That's a good bet, bro. It's a really good bet.
I feel like quote of the day. So this doesn't have to be something good necessarily. I feel like Sam Lovett's going to stick his foot in his mouth.
Ooh.
That's what I feel like.
Ooh.
He's going to say something that's going to make the Big 12 as a whole like, really? That's the type of timing you want? All right. Watch this.
I like that.
I like
Hopefully
that.
this doesn't get to him so that he doesn't realize to not do that.
I mean, I'll just cop out and pick Coach Prime just because of what we said the story, but like, I don't know what Scotty said. Someone's bound to, like, Scott Frost. Like, how does he walk in and like manage wherever they're at right now compared to when he left and what happened in between that?
Dude, imagine like all of your friends are hanging out at this party, right? And you guys are all having a pretty damn good time. And then all of a sudden you're like, I'm out of here, y'all. I got invited to a better party. And all of your friends are like, the hell?
Yeah.
Like, you just bailed like that? And they're like, yeah. You go to the other party, it absolutely sucks. Worst party you've ever been to. So you got to turn your ass back around and go to the other party that you were at.
Yeah.
Imagine the way everyone would look at you when you walked in that door.
Instant jokes. Like,
Yeah.
yo, goof ass.
That's the way that everyone on Big 12 Media Day is looking at Scott Frost.
Oh, man. That's so funny.
Yeah, we'll leave it at that then. We got a lot to get to as well. Let's take our next break.
Shout out to the squad over at Bet365, man. It is the summer, so, you know, football isn't going on, basketball isn't going on, but there are still plenty of sports for you to get in on the action with. And Bet365 is the place for you to do that. And this is why. With their MLB early payout offer. With the Bet365 early payout offer, you're a winner if your baseball team that you bet on goes ahead 5 runs with an instant payout on straight bets and parlay selections. They're marked as winners. Just download the app, use the code DNVR365 when you sign up. New customers now get $150 in bonus bets when you bet $5, win or lose. Sign up, use the code I mentioned, DNVR365, deposit $10 and place a bet for $5 to get $150 in bonus bets if your bet wins or loses. Bonus bets can be used on the spread, totals, player props, futures, and more. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. You must be 21 plus, physically located in Colorado. Please gamble responsibly. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call or text 1-800-GAMBLER. Terms and conditions apply.
Shout out to the homies at Coors Light. Was last weekend the most Coors Light weekend of the year?
Yep.
Even more than week 1?
That's what I was going to say. It's the most Coors Light weekend of the summer.
Okay.
Because once football starts, it's kind of officially fall.
That's true.
So we got what? How many days? Like 85?
Oh, fewer than that.
75?
I think it'll be 7 weeks this Friday till week 1.
40, 50 something,
50
I guess.
some, yeah.
Dang. These days are flying by, man.
We're checking off the marks here, man. But shout out to Coors Light. Hope you all enjoyed the 4th and crushed a few of them at your cookout, grill out, whatever you want to call what everyone else was doing this weekend. I was just chilling, crushing Coors Lights. You can do that here at the DNVR bar as well. We got a bunch of, we got Rockies on right now. It's kind of a little lull in the sports calendar, but get ready because DNVR bar is going to be hopping this fall. Make the most out of times you choose to chill. Choose Coors Light. Get it delivered straight to your door by visiting CoorsLight.com/DNVR. Celebrate responsibly. Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado beer. Okay, we got a lot to do. Quickly, recruiting. Xavier Payne is scheduled to commit today. I'm guessing he still hasn't.
He is not. 3-star offensive tackle, 6'7", 320 pounds.
Sheesh.
Long-time Florida State commit. Recently decommitted from Florida State right after his visit to Colorado. Seems to be down to CU and Syracuse. So should be finding out any moment now, potentially, on Xavier Payne's decision.
It's going to be very painful for Florida State to lose him to Colorado.
And I'll say this now, if Xavier Payne commits to Colorado today, I have a take that I'm going to unveil potentially tomorrow on the show.
Love that.
DeMonte Timms also got he got a recruiting prediction to Colorado. I don't know, was that a Rivals one? Which I don't even know what Rivals is anymore, honestly. So
Rivals is still Rivals.
Yeah, but then
The
it's
OG
like
recruiting site.
But like Hayes Fawcett and like Steve Wiltfong are tagging Rivals now instead of On3. Like I just don't know what's going on.
It is
Really?
kind of
Yeah.
confusing.
The On3 transfer portal account is now Rivals at Rivals.
Right.
What?
Yes, that's what I'm saying. Who knows?
Bro.
So pretty much On3 is college football and Rivals is high school and recruiting.
But it's almost
That's what
like
it is.
On3 is just like the YouTube shows and the articles and not any of the other stuff.
The recruiting website world is like the most incestual
Well,
part of the internet.
But yeah, you mentioned DeMonte Timms, also known as Chico. He was supposed to announce his commitment this past Saturday. Talked to him this weekend. He's delaying his announcement by a little bit, but it seems to be down to Colorado and in Louisville. Former Mizzou commit, 3-star safety. I feel pretty good about Colorado's chances of landing DeMonte Timms.
Carson Crawford announced yesterday he'll be committing on July 10th. That is Thursday.
Yeah.
We feel good about that one. And Rodney Colton is scheduled to commit on Saturday. He spoke to Adam Munster-Tiger about his recruitment.
Hell of a quote.
Yeah, so first he was asked about his, I think this is Colorado visit. It was fun at first, or no, he's talking about his recruitment,
Yeah,
I think.
recruitment as a whole.
It was fun at first. Now it is just hell. I'm going to be praying a lot, just letting God take me and lead me to the right school. There are 3 good schools with good coaches. I just want to pray who's going to develop me and make me ready for the next level. I have a family to feed. That's all I say. My family, my mom, siblings, and God will help me decide. He's deciding between Colorado, Ole Miss, Florida State. He mentioned Coach Hart in the visits, just everyone being down to earth and cool. So we'll see.
That's a lot of pressure if that's really how he feels, being, 17, 18-year-old and feeling like you got to feed the fam.
He does end the article, though, with the quote, "I'm trying to ball. That is all I can say."
Hell yeah.
So
See you soon.
see you soon for sure. All right, what the hell is going on in college football? Texas Tech. If you didn't see it over the week, it was like, what, Saturday?
Is this a
Maybe.
new segment, bro?
I think so. Because I don't know what's going on with a lot of stuff in college football. I don't think anyone is.
You know what you should have named this segment instead
What?
of
What the helly?
What the hell? No.
What?
You should have named it What Did I Miss?
I mean, I feel like I don't know anything about
I like
this.
That's the name of Drake's new song. That's why I said that.
Sure.
I like
good
when
stuff.
I feel like Jake sometimes has a very animated. What the hell is going on?
That's exactly, yeah.
So I like that.
What the hell is going on?
So Felix Ojo, who we've talked about on this show, and maybe things start to make more sense now, actually, because he comes on his Colorado visit, first recruiting weekend, I think it was this summer, right? Like it was one of the first.
Yeah.
Was one of the, if not the highest ranked prospect they had on campus this entire summer. And he goes to Colorado, does the visit and all that, leaves, and immediately after he leaves, the news comes out that he's no longer considering Colorado, which is like, okay, cool, weird, but whatever, do your thing. And then on the 4th of July, so Friday, he commits to Texas Tech with a 3-year, $5.1 million contract. True freshman, has not played it down yet, will not step on campus till at least December. And to me, this is just extremely confusing, or was for a variety of reasons. Thankfully, someone who knows a lot about this type of stuff, I spoke to them this weekend. Because I saw this and I was like, how does this possibly make sense? Like, the way it's broken down is like 1.8 million or whatever for the first year, like his freshman year, right? The $22.5 million revenue sharing, like that's 5% of their budget is going to a freshman offensive tackle.
Yeah.
Like that doesn't make sense to me. So I started talking to someone about it, and asking like, does the clearinghouse have to like approve this and all? Because obviously this like just started in July. Like the CSC, College Sports Commission or whatever, they're the ones who approve all the NIL deals and basically make sure everything is in line. The closest thing to guardrails that we've had since this new era. So basically what I learned is these are fake numbers. There's a certain degree, yes, that this number is true, but this could be factoring in the housing, meal plan, scholarship, like literally everything involved in college in this contract. So that's why this number gets so inflated. Obviously, the collective might be involved as well, but again, that's where the CSC comes in. They got to evaluate every deal, every NIL deal that is basically outside of revenue sharing and approve it or not, pretty much. So that's probably baked into this. Like, we haven't really had many news or stories on how deals have been handled in this new CSC or whatever you want to call it, right? So basically it's a lot of agents doing the work here. They're putting these numbers out, maybe trying to inflate the market.
That's what I was going to say. Because they're the ones who are reporting these numbers to Pete Nakos.
That's exactly
it's their agents, and they want
such
to
a disservice to the kid, by the way.
It is.
Totally. So that's what I learned for the most part, is that don't believe that number just because it's big and flashy. That's what they want it to look like, basically. And it just wouldn't make sense. Like 1.8 million or whatever is literally that, like 5 to 10% of your revenue sharing budget.
And I just,
Also, with all due respect to the kid, he got worked at that camp.
Yes, he did.
very publicly.
Yes, he
worked.
did.
Yes.
Also, and one more thing too. Before or at that camp, in the lead up to it, he was like, "Yeah, I'm between Texas and Ohio State." Like that's what he said. Like his two schools were.
Tech wasn't even in his
Exactly.
reported Final Four or Final Five.
Which is why this is so crazy, and that's why the SEC and Texas in particular lost their mind over this one, because they were like, "What the hell? Like, literally, what the hell is going on? Like,
What did I
we thought
miss?
we were in it for this guy. He's one of the, if not the best recruit in Texas.
Yeah.
Texas Tech just shows up with $5 million and he's committed now. It's crazy.
It's a real slippery slope, bro, because I'm thinking of these agents too, right? Like, I don't know if there's ever been a time where I think we can universally say these agents, have their clients' best interest at mind. But with these numbers nowadays, like, they really, I think a lot of them are going to just be funneling their client to whichever school is going to give them the biggest bag.
Mm-hmm.
Why? Because they're going to get the biggest piece of that.
Yep.
And I think, even with some of these trainers who kind of, say that they're agents for particular athletes, like that same thing happens. Like,
Right.
and that's unfortunate because you're not searching for the best true fit for a kid. You're searching for the most money, which he's going to get, which is going to in turn give you the biggest cut,
Right.
which is just not good. And it's a slippery slope.
And one more thing. Wayne brings up Michigan and Bryce Underwood. That's different, though, because now that we're in July 2025 and everything after that point comes through the CSC, the College Sports Commission, which
Yep.
is why you saw so much money being thrown around this offseason, this
June,
summer, because they were trying to get everything in before
Well, it
this
was
new
still
era
the
took
Wild
effect.
Wild West.
Exactly, yes.
As Reggie would hate for me to say, but
But it's
I'm still saying.
But that's why they did that, because that was totally like collective NIL, like, you know what I mean, like straight check, pretty much, not revenue sharing,
Yep.
not any of that.
Yeah, this is Scott. You made such a great point about the agents. The agents are looking out for themselves, and
Period.
it's that's how it is always. But in the NFL, it's a little bit more like the most money is going to be what's best for both of us, type of thing.
Right.
In college sports, it's just different, man.
It is.
And it's the numbers are not nearly as big as they are in the NFL. A lot of these agents are taking cuts as big as like 25, 35% from
Sick.
these kids. And it's just a very ugly game in a lot of situations. I almost want to use the word predatory because
They lie.
It is in some cases.
yeah, and it's just it's kind of it's bad. It's
It
bad,
is.
and it's going to lead to these kids transferring over and over and over again. And even then, it's like, okay, well, they're going to get a raise at the next place and get a raise in the next place because that's just the way it's going to work. Is you're going to be more valuable at the next place that you're kind of filling a hole for them. So yeah, if there's any players out there watching this, be careful who you're working with.
Yep.
Because it can put you in a really precarious situation.
Definitely.
Yeah, so I mean, we'll see what the CSC like does in terms of approving this or whatever. I mean, he's obviously not there yet. I mean, he's not going to enroll until December at the earliest, you know. So
I'd be willing to bet that there's a story that comes out shortly after he gets on campus of like, here's what the deal really was, and it's not nearly as much as it was built out to be, because like I think Jake, you said at the beginning, they're trying to inflate the market.
yes,
So, you know, they want the next guy to be like, well, if he got that, then I should get more because, you know, I have a higher rating or whatever.
yep.
I will say or ask, though, with Texas Tech clearly being big spenders and competing with Texas's of the world, like, ain't that good for the Big 12 overall? If Texas Tech or even a couple other teams can prove that they are, you know, at least got the pocketbook of some of these SEC Big Ten powers, I feel like that's good overall for the conference, though.
This is a slightly self-serving pitch, but I think that college football fans are a little bit confused right now on like, do I still need to be like giving money to the program? Like, and so it might be very helpful for the fans if like a Rick George were to come on the show and kind of explain the new era and what it means and how why it's still important for fans. Because like ever since the end of the 54-30, I feel like there's been much less push from the fan base to support the program. But like, if Texas Tech is throwing out numbers like that, like it can still be done.
Yeah.
And so we still, you know, the program still needs that type of money to be able to compete for recruits like that.
And
The difference, though, is it's really one guy at Texas Tech doing all this, though. What's his name? Cody Campbell, the oil guy. I don't know his name exactly, but like, he's the one it's oil money. He's just injecting the program with oil money, basically.
And the reason I asked that, I bring that up because, you know, Texas Tech, obviously, they get Ojo or whatever. BYU signed a 5-star quarterback,
Right.
who picked them over Oregon. Houston got them a 5-star quarterback in this class. This is coming after Colorado just flipped a 5-star quarterback in Julian Lewis a year after getting the #1 offensive tackle in the class in Jordan Seaton the year before. So, especially at the quarterback spot, if the Big 12 as a whole can continue to recruit at a high level like they have here recently, I think it's just good for the conference. And for some people, they might start to look at the Big 12 on a similar plane as the Big 10 and SEC.
The other thing that makes me ask what the hell is going on is KingJoseph Edwards entering the transfer portal on July 6th, 5th.
A new portal, brother.
Which, yes, there's a new portal. We did talk about this and all. But my question stems from, like, I thought this portal was made for, like, bottom, like, roster guys and, like, scholarship.
To clear out the roster.
Yeah. So is that, like, did he ask to, like, be designated or something? Like, this is a 4-star recruit. Like,
who played.
He had 3 sacks last year.
Yeah, as a true freshman.
I don't know, but
so he's in the portal now.
come on back, King Joseph.
Yeah, KingJoseph chose Syracuse over Colorado and Florida State, and
Yeah,
obviously a lot
Nick
of people
Williams.
think that was the biggest reason following Nick Williams. So that's interesting. Yeah, I mean, pretty much. And he preserved his red shirt, so this is somebody with 4 years of eligibility left who already has college production out there on the market. 6'4",
So he had 3
240.
sacks in 4 games.
Yeah.
I think that we might have just found a new loophole in the system, which is that, like, let's just say a team came to King Joseph and was like, "Hey, we'll give you $5 million if you transfer here."
Yeah.
And then you just go to the staff and say, "I'd like to be part of the release, you know, whatever the new transfer portal,
Designated, tagged.
or else
whatever.
I'm just gonna quit or like whatever." And
Yeah.
I don't know if that's exactly what happened here, but it feels like it's a possibility.
It's true.
I mean, it's just, and no one else has really entered the portal like yet at this point. Like, it's technically open for these designated guys.
I think I've seen maybe 2 or 3.
But that's what I'm saying. Like,
Yeah.
and he's quite
Obviously
clearly
the
the most like biggest headline of those of that group so far. So, it's so weird what's going on right now. Travis Kelce spoke about Travis Hunter and his two-way ability on Bussin' with the Boys. Full quote. Both sides, that's the thing. I don't know how they're going to divvy it out. I don't know, because teams are going to be going after him. They're going to try and make his day miserable. If he plays corner, they're going to run deep balls at him all day. They're going to run the wide receivers, just take off on him all day. Just try to get him tired. Why wouldn't you just attack him that way?
People have tried that. Doesn't work.
Yeah.
It takes one go ball where Travis turns into the receiver to be like, oh, we're just not going to, like.
Well, I think because you're not throwing it. But I think he's just saying, like, just make him cover it.
Yeah, sure.
And just make him run down there 60 yards and make him run back and then make him run down there 60 yards again. What people don't realize is, like, he just doesn't have a stamina bar.
That don't work.
They just forgot to install that in his software.
Also, they could also just make him play zone where he's extremely good at reading the quarterback and not having to run around the entire field and chase a receiver.
That's also true.
If your plan is to try to make Travis Hunter tired, good luck.
Yeah, you're going to waste everyone's time.
Exactly. And look pretty crazy in the process.
Literally, the guys worked with Olympic track and field coaches who said they've never seen someone with the stamina that he has.
Nope.
Does not get tired. He's not capable of it.
You know what's interesting, though? I think most interesting about that quote from Travis Kelce. Y'all know who Travis Hunter plays week 1?
Is it the Chiefs?
No, it's not. Damn, week 5.
Okay.
Monday night.
Ooh.
So, I don't know. Travis Kelce might have been tipping a little plan there defensively, but we'll see. We'll see them on the field. Travis, that's crazy to say. Travis Hunter and Travis Kelce will be on the field at some point together this year at the same time.
At the same time, yeah.
At the same time,
And the GOAT will be in the box.
Jeez.
Maybe. They still locked in?
I don't know.
We would know
Probably.
if it wasn't, bro.
You're probably
true.
right. You're probably right.
Tyrekus Davis is going to wear number 9. He posted on Instagram.
It's interesting because Tawfiq Byard was wearing number 9 this spring. So I wonder what that means.
No one was wearing 7 on defense, though, if I remember correctly.
Dallin Hayden was the only number
yeah.
7. So
the Shark legacy in full
Need that.
action.
that'd be scary.
Yeah.
That'd be
I
scary.
was thinking about it so I was choosing a golf cart yesterday.
Uh-huh.
And I always try to choose a cart that has a number of a good player just for good vibes.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the options was number 9. And I was like, there's not a lot of legendary number 9s out there, especially not in Denver or Colorado.
There's not out here, but
Yeah.
Shout out Tyler Hansen, who wore number 9.
Steve McNair.
Steve McNair, yeah, but I'm not I'm thinking my squads.
Right.
So there you go. He can Tyrekus Davis can be the GOAT of number 9s.
Who's the best number 9 in football history?
History?
Steve McNair probably would be up there. I mean, Romo was the only one that immediately came to mind.
Well,
which
today
he
it'd
wouldn't
be
up there.
Joe Burrow,
Oh,
True.
right?
yeah. I ended up picking 80. Rod Smith.
There you go.
Yeah.
I can't think of many 9s, though.
Me either. It's interesting.
They'd all be quarterbacks, too, right?
Isn't
Or
that
kickers,
it's a
punters.
weird because single digit numbers are usually so sought after that you would
Right.
expect there to be more great players who have worn that number.
Yeah.
Peter Warwick,
Peter
what a
Warwick, there you
callback.
go. Coach Prime posted an update on Instagram. And in typical coach fashion, pause. Said, I'm coming.
Hell
Let's
yeah.
go.
He's going to be there Wednesday.
I haven't heard anything else.
It feels like he's really gearing up for it.
Yep.
Seems that way. I mean, I'm expecting to see him.
And then no Coach Prime in CFB 26. One of a handful of coaches.
Shout out Kirkpatrick.
Yeah,
Leading
A-plus
the
recruiter.
Buffaloes.
Hold on, I got a list of other coaches.
Bill Belichick also opted out.
Mario Cristobal, Deion Sanders, Kirk Ferentz, Bill Belichick, Bronco Mendenhall, Charles Kelly, Frank Reich. I didn't know Frank Reich was at Stanford.
He's
Oh,
the
yeah.
head coach.
Well, remember Andrew Luck fired Troy Taylor.
Oh, yeah.
Placeholder.
And then just a handful of other guys who no names.
Ooh, Mike Pritchard was number 9 for the Buffs. That's my bad. A little before my time, but I should still know it.
But Yeah. You would think he's in the game next year?
Yes, I think he has to be.
No. Vinny Castilla, another good Colorado number 9.
Based on that report that came out that, like, your revenue from the game is tied to how much people play your team on the game.
That's true.
I think it would behoove the Colorado football program for people to be able to play or, be coached by Coach Prime on the game next year. But we'll see.
Drew Brees wore 9.
True.
Yep.
That'd probably be the answer.
Stafford still wears 9.
I heard you you guys on the Broncos end of the show talking about the 5th best quarterback in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
Who's your pick for that?
Jalen Hurts.
So top
Jake?
4 is Allen, Lamar, Mahomes, Burrow.
You see,
Not
you
that
see the
order,
first
not
name?
that
You see
order.
the first name? That's gonna be killing me, bro.
What?
The first
Yes,
name.
those are the 4.
Those
but
are the
he just
4.
doesn't like
I
these.
just-
Josh Allen first.
I don't know. It's a me thing.
Man,
It's
you
a
got
me
to get
thing.
over that,
It's
bro.
a me thing.
Get that hate out of your heart, bro.
It's not hate, bro, but who would be your 5 after those obvious 4?
Shoot.
It's kind of like the big debate right now. I actually saw Randy Moss tweeted about this yesterday.
Oh, yeah, I think I saw that, and his replies were crazy.
Yeah.
Like, that's why it's such a riveting question, because, like, I mean,
It's up for grabs. It's the last spot in the top
right.
5, and it's kind of up for grabs. Now,
there's like 6 dudes low-key.
Stafford?
That's
take
my
it.
answer.
I'll take a guy who's played in 2 Super Bowls in the last 3 years.
I mean, Stafford
And
won one
won one of
recently.
them.
But I get that. I get that argument, no doubt.
Who
Stafford's
else
my
was
answer.
Who else was up for consideration?
Herbert is a common answer. People were
Definitely
saying
not.
people were saying Purdy was a common
Definitely
answer.
not.
Like,
What are we talking about
Moss's
here now?
replies.
Jaden Daniels was
Jaden-
brought up.
Jaden would
Not
probably be
yet.
my 6.
Not yet.
Jaden would probably be my 6.
CJ Stroud,
CJ, yeah.
Not yet.
Bo Nix.
Well, of course. Go.
Yet. Yeah, so I don't know. To me, it's just like there's
Trevor
no
Lawrence.
one that really has it by the horns. Let me go with the guy who's had success and also outdueled Patrick Mahomes in 2 Super Bowls. They lost one of them, but he still played better than Patrick Mahomes in that game.
Low key, man. Jared Goff has really impressed me the last 2-3 years.
Yep.
I rock with golf.
How's it
I
going
wouldn't
to
say
be without Ben
5,
Johnson
but-
though?
That's true.
Yeah.
But I mean, people were completely writing him off before he got to Detroit, and he's been
100%.
just balling.
I think he's still slept on.
He is.
I think he's still
He's one of
currently
the most
slept on.
underrated players in the league.
He is.
It's like him and James Conner.
Was it you that comped Shador to him? Yeah,
I was going to bring that
people
up.
were hating
Yeah,
on it.
people didn't like that. Like, that was a slight or something. Like, this is a number 1 overall pick who's been to an NFC Championship game, 2 NFC Championship games, and a Super Bowl.
And he throws dimes
Yeah.
like constantly.
For sure.
Yeah.
One of the most accurate passers in the league.
Yeah. I don't know. I guess that'd be the short list. Was there anyone else that was brought up for number?
It's like
number 5.
Everyone in the league. If you've had a good season, then you're in the number 5 debate.
I mean, I wouldn't be upset at Jalen Hurts by any means.
I wouldn't either. I wouldn't put him 5, but I would.
You got Stafford still,
Yeah, I
huh?
would put Stafford. Yeah, this is probably the last year I can say that though.
They're
You know
going
what
to
I'm
be really good this
Yeah.
year, I think.
saying?
I think Stafford's too washed.
I mean, they gave Philly the most go this past NFC playoffs.
Yeah, they did.
They low-key should have won that game.
They're well coached too.
They are. And they got Puka and Devontae. That's gonna be nasty.
All right, let's get these super chats.
Yeah, sorry. I'm looking through the whole league
East
right
Coast Kev here says, we're going with Eric first. More spicy Big 12 media days, Frost or Gundy? Definitely Gundy. Scott Frost doesn't have a personal bone in his body.
now. He's got to, I'm telling you, his approach to this is going to be interesting.
He's
I think.
embarrassed, bro. He left the party. Now he's
Yeah.
coming back. He's just going to, he won't say anything
And he has a
interesting.
terrible football team. They're not going to be good at all.
Yep.
Some people still think that UCF is gonna be better than Colorado this year.
It's insane. Eric again says, with their respective commits, who has the bigger hot seat to deliver
good question.
wins in national title contention? McGuire at Texas Tech or DeBoer at Alabama? We got to do something about this font, man. This is killing me every day.
I think more so Alabama just because it's Alabama,
Yep.
but it's close.
Yeah.
Yeah, if Alabama wins 8 games this
Oh,
year,
he's gone.
he gone.
And didn't they get another 5-star over the weekend,
a
bro?
safety. He's a dog, bro. I think his name is like Jure Edwards, something like that. They've been going crazy this
I don't
offseason.
know what is going on with their recruiting right now, but it's better than ever almost.
Saban back or something.
East Coast Kev says, great show today. Speaking of quotes, I'm still traumatized by Coach Sapp's suck pull drop Sap is rubbing off on RK now.
Pause.
I'm concerned.
He's doing what?
Yeah, East Coast Kev, you're traumatizing us now, bro.
Oh, man. Bro, I look-y thought about your one last week, though, over the weekend again. Still got the roll in the
I
mouth.
thought about it a lot. Too.
That was like a top 3, like, Jesus Christ. Oh, man. That was a classic.
I have not played CFB 26 yet, so no. For those asking, it'll be after media day.
I'm gonna need to get bored at some point, and I'm going to media day, moving, and traveling again this week. So I won't be getting bored anytime soon.
Damn, so we can't even have like a stream like in the next week here.
I mean, maybe next week I'll give you a week to prep. I'll pick up the sticks for the first time, and I'll still give you the work.
You don't have Travis Hunter to just throw bombs over the top of the defense on
true.
this year, though, man.
Gonna have to throw him to Q for 6.
All right, we're out of here. We'll be live from Dallas tomorrow, the next 2 days.
Sure will.
And then we'll be back here hanging out.
Drop us some recs for Frisco area, food-wise, y'all.
All right.
Let us know.
See y'all tomorrow. Let's go Buffs.
Let's go Buffs.
We all silly like the mayor.